Hi, Scott ROCKFILE back with another podcast review for you. Going to talk about the Radiance Blu-ray edition of the 1965 film Planet of the Vampires. Not to disappoint you, but there are no vampires in this film. It's a little more like Alien. Actually, some of Alien came from that. Getting ahead of myself. Mario Bava, the godfather of Italian horror movies, directed this movie in 1965 and will go on to direct some of the most famous horror movies of all time, adding different perspectives and things. Even Martin Scorsese was a huge fan of this guy. His son was brought in to work on this movie and went on to have his own career as well. I learned a lot about this. This is one of those movies that was, I think it was on Mystery Science Theater 3000. It definitely showed on TBS on the weekends as a kid. I don't think I ever watched it, or maybe I did. I remember when it came out on VHS and DVD, it was such a big deal. But you know what? Watching it now in this new 4K restoration from Radiance Films, it was way ahead of its time. Sure, it's low budget. I think the budget on the whole thing was $200,000. The sets were just basically sound stages with a lot of smoke and a couple of rocks. But it has this feeling, this mood through the whole film. And I'm going to get into spoilers at the very end. I'll tell you before I get to them. But I think the spoilers are what make this movie fantastic, much better than you think it is. So the story of the movie is two spaceships are cruising through the universe, and they get a signal from a planet. They decide to investigate. The ships go down. One ship loses contact with the other. All of a sudden, when they land, some of the crew members start attacking each other. When you knock them out, they kind of come out of it. They don't know why they did it. They find out that this already happened to the other ship that landed, and most of the people on board are dead. This has a little bit of gore for a 1965 movie, some open chests and things like that you really didn't expect. And then there's more to the story, but I don't want to give away too many spoilers until the end. People have said it's influential, like there's a scene where there's a giant skeleton in there, and Dan O'Banion, who wrote Alien, said the scene where they walk in and find the giant skeleton. Yeah, I stole it from that, sure. There's a couple things in here that you can see made it into other things, like especially one of the special effects guys went to work on Lost in Space. So this movie actually looks a lot like Lost in Space. Even the costuming, their leather outfits, very strange looking, very interesting, very artistic. Barry Sullivan is the only big actor in here. One of the weird things that happened about the movie was that everybody was allowed to speak their own native language. It was going to be dubbed later. So on the Blu-ray, there's an Italian version and an English version. The Italian version is a hair longer. There's a couple of scenes that go on longer. Both are dubbed. I'm going to go back and watch the English version, but I watched it in Italian because I wanted to see the longer version. If there was more gore or anything, let me see it. Well, this is not like the Italian horror movies that are gory in the 70s. These were some of the first, and especially some of the first gore in any kind of science fiction thing. Back in 65, this was unheard of. And like I said, the movie, 3 different countries, the U.S., Italy, and I think Spain got involved in making this film. The dubbing is not the best thing in the world. The acting is all over the place, but the mood is great. The effects for what they are. They could not use any optical effects. They couldn't merge anything together. They didn't have the budget. So all of the effects are done in camera. Spaceships landing, people walking out of the ship to walk on the planet and stuff. It was either filmed on a soundstage or with forced perspective, where little things were closer to the camera and big things were farther away, like how they did the Hobbit movies and Lord of the Rings. They did a lot of creative things to make this movie look the way it does. It's not very long. It's about an hour and a half. I thought it was pretty good, actually. I was expecting it to just be, I'm going to watch this and pick up this movie for historical reasons, because I've never really seen the film, not as an adult where I could actually evaluate it. There's some great extras on here. It's a Radiance UK edition. It says it's Region B. I'm trying to remember the back of it. One of the Blu-rays I got said it was Region B. I think there was Triangle, and it's not. The other movies say all region, but this is all region. It's a UK disc, but it will play in US players. I had no problem with that. There's some new extras on there. Radiance has done some great things. I like their packaging, by the way. They have nice Blu-ray cases that are a little thicker, and they have an OB strip on the inside. It's yellow, and it goes with the artwork. That's also how the menus are designed. There's a synergy to all this. It's kind of like Criterion Collection. It's really cool. But on the Obi strip, it tells you what the movie's about, all the extras on it, and on the back, it tells you, it's in mono. It's been restored in 4K. There is a 4K out there, but it's a region locked. There are very few, like 99.9% of 4Ks are not region locked, but there is a 4K in Italy of this movie that is region locked. So I didn't pick that up. I got the Blu-ray. And I got to say, upconverted to a 4K player, it looked fantastic. The colors really popped. There wasn't as much film grain as you would think. They filmed it on sound stages, so everything was pretty well lit and looks really good. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, watch the movie. I don't want to give anything away more than what I have, but I'm going to get into spoilers now because I think that's what makes the movie the classic that it is. So here come the spoilers in 3. Turn away now. Turn away now. Don't listen to spoilers. 3, 2, 1. So the 2 ships landing on the planet and finding a signal that's very alien-ish. The crew members fighting each other. It turns out there are aliens on the planet. They're kind of represented by colored lights. They force the people to kill each other. Then they inhabit the bodies once they're dead. Then they reanimate them and use them. So it's more like a zombie movie than a vampire movie. The trailer on there says they attack like vampires. Kinda. But anyway, the aliens on this planet have taken over the bodies of the humans, and then they start trying to infiltrate, but the bodies start falling apart. And it's easy to tell who's a zombie and who's not. So towards the end of the film, they need to get a meteor shield off the one ship and put it on the other so it can leave and survive. They're in an asteroid belt or whatever around this planet. So one of the crew members goes and gets it, installs it, and they're ready to go. Well, as they take off and get into space, it's just the 2 main characters and him. He realizes the 2 main characters have been taken over, that they're actually aliens, and they admit it. And so he runs and he goes to destroy the meteor shield, which kills him. But he does it. He sacrifices himself because he doesn't want these people to go back to his home planet. Well, through the whole movie, you thought these were human people from Earth. The whole time, it's like going back to the home planet. They're going to go to Earth? Oh, we can't let these kind of things go back to Earth. So anyway, when he dies at the very, 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 the last 2 seconds of the film, they say that, we can't get back to the planet. We don't have the shield, but we can stop at this little planet, this 3rd planet in the solar system that we called Sol. They're in, a ancient race. Let's go check them out. And so it turns out the entire movie was not about people from Earth. And that's why their costumes were weird. That's why some of the spaceship stuff was weird. It wasn't very American or earthly. It was kind of weird, but you just thought, well, this is an Italian low-budget movie. It takes place in the future. That was their idea of the future. No, that was their idea of an alien culture that were like us, but not us. I just thought that was brilliant. At the end, we're like, they're going to Earth? They're not from... Wow. Okay. And it changes the whole thing because you relook at the costumes, you relook at the ships, you relook at everything they did. No wonder this all played out kind of weird. So anyway, maybe that will entice you to watch the movie. It really, they show a picture of Earth and they say they're going there and that's how the movie ends. And they should have made a horror sequel to this, but wow. And Mario Bava, the dude told stories like it doesn't matter that the dubbing is bad. It's more visual, and each scene, brightly lit colors, greens and reds and blues and oranges. And it's just, it's something a very kind of a psychedelic masterpiece. In the end, especially with the plot twist at the end, I thought this was, much better than a Mystery Science Theater 3000, and certainly a very influential movie. So to import the movie these days is kind of expensive, but again, I'll mention my friend Kyle at the Atomic Movie Store. I think they have it for $26 and free shipping if you're over 50. That's a lot cheaper than if you imported it from England or whatever. It's a Radiant Special Edition. Like I said, it's got some other stuff on the Blu-ray. It's got a little booklet in it, kind of like the Arrow stuff. And all in all, it's a great pack. I wish there was a 4K edition. I don't know that I will upgrade it down the road. This is probably as good as I need to get. But as a movie that's part of the history of movies and very influential on modern science fiction movies, check out Planet of the Vampires. There's no vampires. They're kind of zombies, but it's got some interesting stuff in it, if you can make it through. It's got some interesting music as well. Mario Bava, it's an early work from him, but it set a tone, and it's still influential today. Scott, I'm ROCKFILE. More podcasts are on the way. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a spectacular day.